Yes, you should. Now here's what the show is. A mystery horror drama about people trapped in a town that's in a pocket dimension, but don't let them hear you call it that.
This is a pocket universe.
Oh my God. For Christ's sake, man, enough.
They pick either town or county house to take shelter, because at night, monsters come out of the forest that look like people and try to get people to open the door so they can kill them. Gradually, we find out about Fromville. Oh, that's the name of the town. That's not really what the town is called, it's what the fans call it. The characters never give it a name, just like the monsters. Like, at all. 3 seasons in, and they still call them things. Are you kidding me? I'm getting ahead of myself. When I say Fromville, I'm talking about the town in the show. When I say From, I'm talking about the show as a whole. Now let's talk about the show as a whole.
I'm a tremendous
Joy!
I'm a tremendous
Joy! Lovely, lovely, lovely!
It's spooky. Pretty spooky. It's a good horror show. It's not always in your face. It builds dread and lets you sit there knowing exactly what's about to happen, just waiting for it to. I'll admit, there are some parts later in the show that whenever it cut to them, I fast forward through because I was eating and did not want to see that. It's not all horror though. There's also drama, and that comes from the characters. From has a town full of them. Background characters, side characters, and main characters. There's Boyd, the sheriff and leader of the town. Kenny, his deputy. Also helping Boyd is Father Catry, who is the town's priest. He gives Boyd advice, whether he wants it or not. The Matthews family and Jade, who are new, and act as our way to learn about Fromville and its residents. Except Jade is my second favorite character, because he actually tries to solve what's going on. Also, he arrived with his friend, Toby, and if you ask me, there was something about Jade's character that was set up, but the writers never paid it off. Donna. She's the head of County House, which is separate from the town and more of a community house. Victor lives there. He's my favorite character. He's been in Fromville the longest, and runs tests on the town to see if anything's changed. Then there's Fatima, who tries to stay positive during the nightmarish scenario they're all in. She dates Ellis, who is Boyd's son. That is the extent of Ellis's character. The town itself is also a character. It's not that present, but sometimes, every once in a while, something happens that can only be described as the town taunting its captives. Whether it be indirectly through the monsters, or just straight up mocking their pain. As the show goes on, the new arrivals adopt the mentality of the others, and it's interesting to see how the town changes people, since we get some flashbacks on older inhabitants to see how they've adapted to live there and not go insane. Of course, what's driving them all insane is the mysteries in From, which is the third aspect of the show. The town is shockingly consistent. Everyone sees the tree in the road and the birds, and they come from different places than everyone else. Once they're there, they can't leave. The roads all lead back into town, and no one's explored too far into the woods on account of the monsters. The show calls them creatures in the credits, and names the notable ones, like Smiley, who is the go-to creature. If there's a scene with a creature, it's going to be Smiley. The monsters can't be killed, and whenever they kill, they take the organs of their victim. They're not eating them, since they only get a kill every couple of months. So what they're doing with them, or why it's always the same wound, is just another weird thing about them. Another thing that makes the monsters so interesting is that it is clearly a game to them. They walk to get their prey instead of running as a handicap to make things more interesting, which, frankly, I get. I've done hundreds of Dark Souls challenge runs, and that feeling when you've undeniably won, despite limiting yourself, is like snorting a rainbow. I'm not saying what they do is right, I'm just saying I get it. There's moments in the show where they pull some long cons and it pays off, and if you were the monster, you imagine it must have felt so satisfying to have gotten one over on them. They can't get into the homes on account of the talismans, but as the show goes on, it seems it doesn't have to be a house, just an enclosed space. That won't stop them from trying to get in, mind you. They're smart. They don't just look human, they act human. They'll try to get you to open the door using any lie or story. And frankly, a lot of people would actually open the door for these things.
Wow.
My favorite monster is the Milkman, because the others could have feasible stories to get newer residents to let them in, like the nurse could say there's an emergency and they need something from inside, or the old lady is cold, but the Milkman? What's he gonna say? Hey pal, I know it's 2 a.m., but wouldn't some milk hit the spot? Why don't you open the window and get some, huh? I've got cookies. There's some other mysteries in From, but obviously I'm not going to talk about those yet. I'm going to talk about what's wrong with the show. You may think it's counterintuitive to persuade people to watch a show by telling them about its flaws, but I'm not trying to get you to watch the show. I think you should, I like it, but I'm giving you information about the show to let you decide if you want to watch it. That includes the flaws, which a lot of things have. No piece of media is perfect, except for one, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about From's flaws. The most evident but smallest is that K Sarah Sarah cover From uses as an opening. It's not good, I don't like it. The drawings are cool, but it never changes, so you're better off skipping it.
Will I be pretty? Will I be rich?
Anyway, on to things that are actually wrong with the show. This is a mystery show where the characters are working towards solving what's going on and getting out of there, but none of them talk to each other. If someone in From saw a Goodyear blimp fly by and no one else did, they wouldn't bring it up to anyone. There's a plot point in Season 2, I'm not going to go into specifics, so I'll just explain with an equivalent. Imagine going to an art show with your friends, and it's a themed exhibit with a gimmick, where you have to figure the theme out. You each see one painting, and only you get to see that one painting. And everyone else sees a different painting, and you all have to describe your painting to one another to try and find out what the theme is, and see if there's a connection. You see a sea turtle in yours, but it's out of place, and much more is happening in the piece that has your attention. But your friend also has a shark in theirs, along with other things holding their attention. No one but them has mentioned sea life, but it could be a lead on the theme, but you don't mention it, like at all. You stand idly by as the friend with the shark circles back and realizes its importance. You could have gotten to the conclusion sooner if you had mentioned the sea turtle, but you didn't. Why? It's so easy to do. They could have figured out that sea life was the theme. So little happens that's out of place. They could get ahead of things if they just told others about what they saw. Speaking of characters, here's a flaw a lot of them share. I gotta go. I don't want to talk about it. Stay away from my kids and or family. No, this can't be happening. Some of these phrases are said on an almost once-an-episode basis. The way the characters react to each other and to events in Fromville are often the same each time. The reason no one ever talks to each other seems to be that if they did, no one would believe them. Somehow, despite these people having been there for, in some cases, literal years, they still can't believe something impossible happening, despite the fact that their entire situation is not possible. They are still skeptical of there being magic and unknown forces when they are actively being held captive by magic and unknown forces. It's a little annoying. While the acting on the show is pretty solid, there are some weak links. That being Tabitha and Boyd. Now Tabitha. Whenever she's on screen, she captures your attention. Personally, whenever I see her, I always reach for the remote so I can turn up the volume, so I can better hear her emotionless line deliveries. She's very flat during the show. Maybe it's just her lines, but she brought me out of some of the scenes that would have hit more if she emoted at all. Now with Boyd, he just keeps pausing. I'm watching From, not Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Immediately, bam, a potential smoking gun. Did Nathan actually graduate from business college? And in my research, he did. He graduated from the University of British Columbia with a degree in business communication and even spent a time working for a real-life brokerage firm. I'm not really sure why I left this part in.
This video is an hour long. Gee, I wonder why. I'll give Catalina Sedina Marino the benefit of the doubt and see what else she's been in to see if she's better in. She was nominated for an Academy Award? Yes, perhaps they have different standards than I have. The last flaw is the pacing, but mainly the reveals on what's going on. It takes a while to learn a little. Are you guys excited for Season 11? I hear we're gonna find out how the crows fit into all this, and maybe even a hint about how the talisman keeps the monsters out. There's also a problem with the show's starting mysteries, and then them never being brought up again. Like with whatever happened to the plot point about the trees moving closer to the houses.
Magicked away, my lord.
Magicked away.
Well, that was 3 things done right and 3 things done wrong. Only fair. Yet, there's still time on the video. What do you think that is? The conclusion? No! There's a bunch of mysteries on the show I want to talk about. And I'm going to, because this is my soapbox, and I decide how to use it. If you were convinced to watch From, go do that right now. This is a mystery show, and you can only experience a reveal once. You shouldn't experience a reveal from a YouTube video. If you want to hear about the mysteries I'm going to talk about, come back after watching Season 3. And, if you've already seen Season 3, then, I don't know, just wait. Okay, I've given a warning. For this is the part of the video for people who've seen From. 3, 2, 1... You have to wait until 2026 for Season 4! Anyway, if you're still watching after not seeing Season 3, and haven't taken my advice, despite the warnings, Jim dies! I gave you so many opportunities to leave. It is your own fault for being spoiled, dumbass! The town is alive. It punishes people for trying to leave it, or at least getting close to figuring out what's going on, like with the storm. But I don't think that everything in Frumville is the town. I think there's several entities in Frumville that live in symbiosis with the town, like how a tree can house squirrels, birds, and ants, but that doesn't mean that the squirrels and ants are related. Some are, like the Kimono Lady and the creatures, but the worms and the creatures are definitely not working together. So here's my list of entities that are absolutely related. The town is related to the creatures, since it made it winter to rot the food to bring Smiley back. And how would they hear Boyd yell this?
You don't fucking break me!
You think this place can't break you?
The town told them, or something like that. The Kimono Lady was already stated to be with the creatures, but I don't think it's with the town. Now the man in yellow. We've seen like 3 scenes of him, and one of them is a painting. He's with the town since he stops the radio, and could be a game master. People are saying that since he's out during the day, the creatures are going to attack during the day, but I think it's like a shift thing. The creatures are out at night, and he's out during the day, but follows the same rules, so talismans will stop him, just like the others. That's my prediction at least. The spider might be connected with the town since it knows about Boyd's wife. But this might not be the spider, it might be just the town making Boyd see her, like Father Catry. I think the birds are rogue. Nothing has anything to do with the birds. In fact, they might be working against the Kimono Lady and the creatures by proxy, since one of them broke in during the reading and woke up Elgin. They could be with the kids since they showed up on the tree on the road, and the kids have a lot to do with trees. Yes, I think the kids are the ones that trap people in the town, but not maliciously, just to free them. Back to animals. The dog leads them deeper into the woods, which is both a good and bad thing, so we don't know if he's trying to help or hurt them. A lot of animals might not be related to anything, and may just be there. It's fine for small stuff like this, and whatever it is that lurks around the cabins at night, not to be connected to other things, or even ever explained, but one major thing that isn't related to anything is the dungeon Martin was in, and the dream entities. Elgin's dream was a red herring. It was made just to throw us off the scent about Smiley coming back. It had nothing to do with the other dreams, it was just made to throw us off what was going on. We never see Martin again. We never hear him again. And why did he give Boyd the worms? He was trying to help him and he did that? Did he know the creatures are weak to them? If he did, does he not know they come back? Boyd barely tells anyone about him. What if Randall and the others can transfer what's affecting them like Boyd did to Smiley? And they never explained what caused the dreams. Was it the box? Was it cicadas? The dungeon? All of them working together? What did the dungeon even do? They were all taken there, but the dreams had both the music box and the cicadas. Those things clearly worked together somehow, but the dungeon is its own thing that also affects them, but in different ways, and maybe not even one of them, since the drug addict is fine and Julie can time travel, but Randall is driven crazy by mind bugs? It must have been the music box, since the dream stopped when it was broken, but what did the bugs do? Only Randall is going crazy, and he's the only one scared of the dungeon. Julie isn't, and the druggie, again, is perfectly fine. Was the music box affecting her? The bugs go for Randall, the dungeon affects Julie, but she gets off scot-free? It doesn't add up. None of it adds up.